Hello and welcome to the new episode of the AWS Training for Beginners. Siavash is here, and in today's tutorial we are going to learn how to configure SSL and TLS communication on Amazon Linux 2. So let's begin. First of all, as usual, open your favorite browser. I opened Chrome in this case and go to the aws.amazon.com. Log in with the root account we've created on a very early tutorial and sign in on the console. All right, I got a safe credential and sign in successfully. In previous tutorial, we've learned how to launch an AWS Linux 2 with the LAMP installation on it. So we just go to the EC2 recently, is under compute. Already become totally familiar with that, and we go to instance running and the LAMP server is up and running. We just went with the free tier eligible machine and using our SSH web security group plus our key name. So if you don't know how to create this machine, please watch the previous video. Let's see what options we have here. We can see our public DNS and public IP address for this machine. And let's check it out with the IP address. I just copy IP address and paste it here. So we can see that in that case, our HTTP is working. But if I go with HTTPS, we don't see that Apache is reply us. So this machine is not secure. Is it just mentioned that if we want to launch something like a PHP myadmin, and as a standard, we couldn't use that HTTP because all the information are shown unencrypted on our web server. So what we need in this case, we need to configure the SSL and TLS on our Amazon, our secure socket layer, SSL and transport layer security. Creates an encrypted channel between a web server, in this case our machine, and a web client, a user, which protect the data in transit from being eavesdropped on the way in the network. So in this tutorial, we're working on this AWS. For historical reason, actually, web encryption is often referred to simply as SSL, which web browser is still supporting them. But its successor protocol, which is TLS, is much more secure, and officially we are going to just seeing that the TLS version 1.0 and TLS 1.1 are going to deprecated officially by Internet Task Forces. But in this tutorial, we just trying to launch the TLS 1.2. A newer version of TLS 1.3 protocol exists, but at the time of recording of this video, it's not installed by default on Amazon Linux 2. If you want to find more information about that encryption standard, there are two RFC. One of them is RFC 7568. Here we go. This is a page for RFC 6.4, which is talking about the deprecating SSL version 3, which is no more in use and not supported by modern browser. And also we have that RFC 8446. So these are two RFCs that you can review and read before the bedtime. This is just about the TLS protocol version 1.3, which is the latest and greatest encryption in transit at the moment for the web world. Okay, just put the links on our description of the video for you guys. You can refer to that. But prior to that, having that enabling the TLS, usually in the real world, we have some domain name. So I registered a domain a couple months back in another account. As you can see, this is my another account. In a different region, we need to set some of our DNS settings. We can access to our website through the domain name or just name. Usually under networking and contents, we have all the configuration regarding our networking stuff. And the Amazon DNS Manager is Route53 is a place you can set our stuff. And I just registered this domain directly here. But if you have your own registrar company, usually you have a page for managing your DNS. So let me see what we have. I have one hosted Zune for this domain. The domain is cryptosecnetwork.com. I don't know why I choose that name. Anyway, and let's click on that, see what we have here. So we have that's just basic information. Things are like a start of authority here, which is you can see that are pointed to the AWS, and we have our name server records for S, and we need just to add the one A record. Just click on a create record, and let's go with this generic one plus a www. What we need is just IP address. So this was just A record is a route traffic to an IP version 4 address. So this is a very basic stat for the A record. We go back to our main account using the Chrome and using the Edge for my account, different account. I can switch over easily between them. Copy the IP address, the public IP address of the LAMP server we got, and go back to that Route53 page and just paste the value here. And the rest you can leave it as default. We're just using the simple routing. Amazon Route53 has a very good features for the routing. We have different things like a failover. This is one of the very good usage of the failover DNS. We have a geolocation, routing based on the latency, and we have a different weighted, and these are very good features. But for this tutorial, we just go with a simple routing and just create a record. And the first record is created. A record type is point to our public address of our machine. So let's create another one for www. Just www. Cryptocurrency is going to the same IP address. You can use a different method, but just is the easiest one. We can have both records up and running here. So we have both www as a record, and we have that the generic one. So for the domain name. So everything here is good. So now technically, if I click here, just copy my domain actually and click here, I have to see the same page. Of course, it's showing not secure, and so it's very hard nowadays. So just go with the www. So most browsers don't accept that non-secure one. You can see even by default it tried to send it there, HTTP, and here is not waiting for a while, just to working. You can wait for a moment. Okay, so finally after a couple of minutes, let's try again. And here we go. So we have both www.cryptosecnetwork.com as well as without any www. Another method I'm showing you how we can do that. Just go to CMD and use the NS lookup. And by just pasting that the domain name, we can see that the resolver here. Zoom in. Okay, NS lookup and just put the whatever domain you want, and showing that our local DNS as well as our public DNS assigned in a record to this domain name. Very well. Okay, so we don't have anything else here. Just exit my command line and I can close. Let's go back to Chrome, and so now we know that we have our own domain name is working fine, and there are several methods we just can enable the TLS for our web server. Just standard methods such as installing the open SSL and just obtain our private and public key, send it for a signature. But just I'm going, since this tutorial is for beginners, one of the best way is just using the certificate automation by using the Let's Encrypt, which they have a tool called Certbot for we can use that. So in general, that's a script. Let me show you this page for you guys. That's useful to know about this service. That's a very good service, especially for free users. So they are non-profit certificate authority providing a TLS certification for around just a couple of years back, and they have a very good tools and guides for how we can doing that TLS enable on our web server. Generally speaking, we using this method. So let's start it with this method. At first step, we need to prepare an installation. Since that there are some dependency needed by Certbot, we need to download the extra packages for Enterprise Linux, Linux 7 repository packages. So we can go to the, let's first of all close this stuff here and copy the IP address. Let's go to our SSH to our box, go to the SSH, and just add the key. We're using our standard AWS key. You already master of this at this stage if you're following the videos, and logging with that public IP address. So user the EC2-user, and here we go. So let's slightly make it bigger, easy to read, and we just need to get those additional EPL repository for dependencies. You can see I just paste the command for you, and let me zoom in to explain that what we are going to do. We are already in a home directory for EC2 user, and using the sudo, just getting the root privilege. We'll just wget, and this is a full. I just again put all these commands for you on a description of the video, and here we go. So all the necessary dependencies are installed, and we just need the next stage, just install the repository package shown in this repository. Again, let me clear, if I can type Sarah, and let's take a look. Here we go. We're just using just some RPM for the website, and getting this EPL release version for RPM. That's good. The next stage, we just want to confirm that EPL is enabled with the following command, which is just repo lists. We enable all the repo lists for this downloaded repository, sudo yum repo list all. So as we can see that we have majority of our repository. All right, the next stage, we just need to edit the main Apache configuration file. This file is in it's http conf, and just sudo nano, and let's see, httpd conf and http conf. So the file is there. Just make sure that either you have a sudo privilege or just use it the key, and we're just going down under the listen AT. We just need to add that the virtual host here. Make sure that you replace that the server name and the server alias to our own domain. Let me see what was the domain. Here we go. Just copy that part and right click. You don't need anything of those slashes. Remove everything from here. And perfect. So we can do the same thing here. All right. So this is server alias. So just use the A record. You can use a CNAME if you like. Just here we go. Let's take a look at the command. So we just edit the file under listen. Just put the virtual hosts and just document root, service name, which is our domain, and server alias, just a . And after that, you just need to Control X to exit. Make sure to save the file on the same name, and we need to reboot the system ctl. Restart Apache server httpd. Here we go. So that's good. So let's take a look. Very good. Just there's basic Linux command. We got it. And the next stage is install and run the Certbot. So in this procedures is based on that just documentation for installing the Certbot on a Fedora and on a RHEL version 7, but you can, if you have any other version, you can refer to those documentation of the Let's Encrypt. We're using that default use of Certbot when we just issuing the certificate based on that RSA key with the size of to 2048-bit. First of all, let's install the Certbot package and dependencies using the following command. Just again, I'll put that all the commands for us in our description. Let's take a look at the command sudo yum. So we just need the privilege yum install -y to just automatically approve. We install the Certbot. We install the Python 2 for Certbot Apache. So let's press enter and get all the necessary repositories here, the packages indeed. And here we go. So everything is installing very fast on an AWS Linux 2. Okay, very well. That's just, we need to just run the Certbot. And here we go. So first of all, we need to enter the contact information, which is our email address. Let me use that. Just some, doesn't really matter. Here we go. We just info at our domain name, and just agree with the let's encrypt terms of use and services. Yes. Next stage, we just want to, that's just accepting the for a mailing list. If you like, just say yes. Okay, which names would you like to active HTTPS for? I just want to asking for a number one for the entire things or for both of them. So that's up to leave this blank. We need to press the enter because you see that's let me zoom in if you can't see it properly. Here we go. So just which names would you like to activate HTTPS for? We can have options for the domain name without dot 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 or with dot dot dot. So, we just leave the input blank to select all. So in this case, we want to apply on both the combination of the domain. Just press the enter, and after that, we just Certbot display the output. We're creating the certification and configuration Apache. Then it's prompt that we are just redirecting the HTTP queries to HTTPS, and just simple as that. It's as simple as that. We just, everything is getting done by the Certbot within a second. I have to say that. So now, if you remember, previously we couldn't put HTTPS here, and now HTTPS, and now we have the log, which is showing that our connection is secure and certification is valid for our website, which is run and up and running. There are several ways we test that the security. We can use one of my favorite website is Quail SSI, which is, you can find it here, and is a quality for SSL labs, and we can put our host name here. Oops, really guys. Let me copy our domain name. We need to copy some of our buffer here. Here we go. And let's submit. And it's going to analyze and create the report for our TLS certificate we're installing here. All right, so we have a RSA 2048-bit based on the SHA-256. And all the information regarding or the key here. Just remember, it's very important for real world testing. It's crucial to the security to make sure that you have a very secure server. A small configuration in our infrastructure may lead to serious security breaches and loss of data. So always take the security very serious. And as you can see, the overall rating for our website is based on A. So our certificate, protocol support, key exchange, and cipher strength are in a very good condition. You can read more about that, what we have here. Usually with this TLS version 1.2, we have a very strong certification. That's all right. So we have both and non. Let's test it also. And here we go. So our web server is now secure, and in the next video we can install that phpMyAdmin or anything you want. So you can make sure that any authentication, encryption in transit has happened on your website, and you provide that overall rating A security for your website. Thanks for watching the video. Please leave your comments and messages on the comments box, and if I can answer your questions, I will be happy. Watch, learn, subscribe, and share.